the future redemption in the idea of a donkey. Why the donkey? And the reason why is because in the Gemara it says that Mashiach is going to be a poor man riding on a donkey. A poor man riding on a donkey. That's how it's described. And because Mashiach, it's going to have something deeper. As we said, a poor man riding on a donkey, it's going to be revealed the advantage of the body over the neshama. There's an advantage of the body over the neshama.
Alright, so basically what I'm learning here about is that in the times of the Mashiach, what the feminine represents will become ascendant, meaning that what the body is and what physicality is will be revealed to be the source of the most intense and profound spirituality.
Okay. So there's a midrash. There's a midrash on the pasuk. So what's the pasuk? The pasuk is Vayihili Shor v'Chamor, that Yaakov was going back to Eretz Yisrael. He worked with Lavan for 14 years. He married his Lavan's daughters, Rachel and Leah. He had the Shvatim, he had his children. And now he was going back to Eretz Yisrael to fulfill the promise that Hashem gave to him and to his fathers, that he was going to, that the land was being given to Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and to the Jewish people. On Yaakov's way, he realized he was going to have to confront his brother Esav. And Esav was not so happy with Yaakov. He actually, when Yaakov was running away, Esav sent his brother to actually go kill Yaakov. He didn't end up killing him. He didn't want to kill him because he grew up near him. And he knew who he was. So Yaakov told him that if you take all my possessions, then it's considered as if you killed me, because it says like a poor man is considered as if he's dead. So what happened when Lot went to go greet Yaakov? He remembered that when Eliezer, which we spoke about earlier, Avram's servant came to Haran. He came with all of Avram's possessions. He came as an extremely wealthy man. So Lavan thought that Yaakov must also be extremely wealthy because he's the son of Avram, right? And Yaakov. Or Yitzchak. So when he saw him, he ran up to greet him and he hugged him to see if maybe there was like some gold and silver in his pockets. He didn't see any silver and gold in his pockets, so he kissed him.
To see if it's hidden in his mouth.
See if maybe he hit something in his mouth. And he didn't find anything, so he wasn't so happy. He said, okay, you'll work here, and anyway, he wanted to marry. So when Yaakov is now going back to Eretz Yisrael, and he's getting ready to confront his brother Esav, who, as far as he knew from last time, the simple meaning is that he was somewhat afraid of him, so he had to prepare for meeting him. So he sent like angels, he sent messengers, and those messengers came with a lot of gifts, and they went and told Esav that Yaakov said, tell him that I lived with Lavan until now, and I have all of these possessions. I have shor v'chamor v'ebed v'shipcha, which means I have oxen and donkeys and animals and maid servants and servants, meaning he became very wealthy. The Midrash says, when it says Vayihili Shor v'Chamor, it says I had oxen and donkeys. So the Midrash says Chamor, this donkey, goes on Zeh Melech HaMashiach. It says it's Melech HaMashiach, as it says, and the proof that the Midrash says is that it says the Midrash says Ani Berechiv Al Chamor. So basically, when Yaakov was going to inform Esav, he's saying, I have Mashiach. So when he said, I have donkeys, he meant, I have Mashiach, because Chamor represents Mashiach. Why? Because there's a verse that says that Mashiach is going to be a poor man riding on a donkey. So it goes on to say that Yaakov, that the coming of Mashiach is dependent on the service of Birurim, which means refining the world. That through a Jew refines his body and his animal soul and his portion of the world and uses them out in holiness, so that through this we're drawing down the revelations of the future era of Mashiach. And that's what the pasuk is saying, that it says I lived with Lavan. And when it says lived, it doesn't mean that he really lived there in a fixed way. It meant he lived there in a temporary way. And there was a whole lesson here, that the idea of being involved in the physical world, we can't make it our true home. We have to make it as a temporary stay, as a journey. It says in the teaching of the Maggid that they asked why his house wasn't so nice, why he didn't have so many beautiful possessions and everything like that. He said the reason was because when you're on a journey, do you have all of your nice couches and clothes? It's like, no. So what his being in this physical world was a journey to really reach a higher destination. Meaning to say that the purpose of the world is not the world itself, but the purpose of the world is to fulfill the will of Hashem in the world, the Torah mitzvahs. Yeah, okay. So again, back to that midrash. It says that the donkey refers to Melech HaMashiach, the King Mashiach. When Yaakov told Esav that he had donkeys, he had oxen and donkeys, all his possessions, really, Yaakov was really telling Esav, according to the midrash, that he had Mashiach. What does that mean? So first of all, the question is, why did Yaakov hint at the redemption, the future redemption in the idea of a donkey? Why a donkey? And the reason why is because in the Gemara it says there's two ways how Mashiach could potentially come. It says that Mashiach is going to come on the clouds of heaven, floating through the clouds of heaven. It also says that Mashiach is going to be a poor man riding on a donkey. So is Mashiach going to come on the clouds of heaven, or is he going to come riding on a donkey?
What about a donkey in the clouds?
So the poor man riding on a donkey. So why did Yaakov? So if the Jewish people are going to be meritorious, Mashiach is going to come riding on the clouds of heaven. If they're not meritorious, he's going to come as a poor man riding on a donkey. So the question is, why did Yaakov hint at the future redemption through the donkey, and not the higher portrayal as riding through the clouds of heaven? And not only that, but if since Yaakov was ready for Mashiach, so he seemingly was in a level of meritorious, which means he should get the clouds of heaven. So why did he hint at it through the donkey? So it's written in the Pirkei de Rebbe Eliezer that this donkey that Mashiach is going to be riding it's not the first time that donkey has been around. So the same donkey that Mashiach is going to be riding is the same donkey that it says about Moshe Rabbeinu, that he put his wife and his children on the donkey when they were traveling in the desert or the wilderness, and it's the same donkey by Avram Avinu. It says V'yachaveshes Chamer, that he saddled his donkey. We say it every day in davening, that Mashiach, this donkey of Mashiach is the same donkey from Moshe Rabbeinu and the same donkey from Avram Avinu. What does that show? Show us that this donkey and the service of Mashiach, Moshe Rabbeinu and Avram Avinu is one flow, one flow. Avram started the preparation for the giving of the Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu received the Torah, and the ultimate purpose of that is going to be fulfilled when Mashiach comes. Okay. The purpose of the Torah is going to be revealed through Mashiach. So, but we see there's a difference between all the ways that, by the way that Mashiach used the donkey versus the way Moshe Rabbeinu used the donkey versus the way Avram used the donkey, we see a difference. What do we see by Avram Avinu? He didn't actually ride the donkey.
Oh, it did, sir?
What did he put the wood, and he put his knife, because he was going to the Kedah with Yitzchak. So he put his knife and the wood on the donkey, but he himself he was not riding on the donkey, right? What is the wood and the knife? These are tools of a person. They're the person's tools. They're not the person himself. They're just things that he uses. By Moshe Rabbeinu, he didn't only put the tools and the items on the donkey, but he actually took his wife and his children on the donkey. So obviously a person's wife and their children are much closer to a person than sticks and a knife. Because it says that a wife is Ezer Kenegdo, is a helper, Kigufa Damya. The Gemara says that a wife is considered like the person's very own body. And a son is like the leg of the father. Meaning he's very connected to the person.
Who was it with his wife?
Moshe Rabbeinu.
Moshe.
Avram Avinu put his tools and items on the donkey.
Oh, I see.
Moshe Rabbeinu put his wife and his children on the donkey. It says Mashiach is actually going to be riding on the donkey. So Mashiach, again, it says he's going to be riding the donkey. That Mashiach himself is going to be riding on the donkey. So we see all these three people, Mashiach, Moshe Rabbeinu, Avram Avinu. It says in the Midrash that it's all the same donkey. And it's actually, I looked in the Midrash, it says that this is from the donkey that was born, that was created during twilight, at the creation of the world. It says there were 10 things that were created at twilight.
That was Bilam's donkey.
That's the mouth of his donkey, but it also says there, the donkey from Avram Avinu. So what does it mean to ride? What is the purpose of a donkey and riding a donkey? So riding a donkey is that this helps a person reach a place that he wouldn't be able to reach by himself, either as far as distance is concerned or as far as height is concerned. So the donkey helps a person reach a place where a person wouldn't be able to get himself. Right? So the same too, the idea of riding on a donkey is spiritually speaking. What is the chamar? What does donkey represent spiritually? Chamar is very similar to the word chaymer. Chaymer means physicality, or physicality. There's an explanation of the Baal Shem Tov that it says if you see a person with their donkey is riding underneath its burden, meaning the donkey is carrying a lot of things and it's falling down, so it says you shouldn't turn away, you should certainly help him, right? And the way that the Baal Shem Tov explained that was that if you see yourself, if you see that physicality is a burden for you, and it's bringing you down, you shouldn't abandon it, you shouldn't run away from it, you shouldn't either punish it, or what's it called, torture yourself, which people used to do. Rather, you should help him. You should try to work with your body and refine your body in order that it should become more refined and able to help you in your matters of Torah mitzvahs. So what does it mean? So it means that through refining physicality, we can reach even higher place than the neshama by itself could reach. Just like a donkey is able to help a person reach further than he can reach by himself. Saying since a donkey is compared to physicality, we're saying that through refining physicality, we're able to reach even the neshama is able to reach even higher than it's able to reach by itself, which makes a lot of sense. The neshama is a neshama and it's spiritual.
It's lifting it up.
Yes, it's also because lifting it up. Exactly, because the but not only that, but the physicality itself, because the physicality comes from a very high source. When we refine the physicality, it's able to actually elevate the neshama. It's actually able to bring the neshama to an even higher place. And that's the idea that the donkey brings the person to a further place than the person can go by himself. So the person is like the soul, and the donkey is the physicality. It says like this. In the time of Avram Avinu, it was just the preparation for the receiving of the Torah. So the physicality of the world was not yet able to elevate a person. It was not yet refined enough. Because at that point, before the giving of the Torah, physicality had not become holy at that point. As explained in various places, that before the giving of the Torah, there was a decree. Hashem had a decree in the world that holiness is holiness, spirituality is spirituality, and physicality is another world, and they don't mix and match. They don't become truly merged together.
That's how the Goyim think.
No, not anymore.
They also think
No,
that way.
because through the 7 commandments of Noah, they're also able to fulfill purpose, and actually merge the spirituality with the physicality as well, and they have an extremely important role in that. So at that point, before holiness was able to become truly merged with physicality, it was still possible to have some kind of spiritual influence going down to the world, but it wasn't into the person himself, it was into the things that could help a person. That through refining the physicality, the physical objects could help and be of assistance to holiness. So by Moshe Rabbeinu, through the donkey over there, it didn't only elevate, like by Avraham Avinu, which was before the giving of the Torah, physicality you could put the tools on the donkey being physicality, so physicality could help certain things that help a person, but it couldn't really lift up a person themselves. But it could lift up, physicality was refined to the level that it could elevate objects, like physical objects basically, that help a person. Moshe Rabbeinu, there was an elevation in the lower parts of a person, because after the giving after leaving Egypt and the receiving of the Torah, there was a purification also in the physicality of the world, that the physicality itself could become holy through a mitzvah. And when you do a mitzvah, the spirituality, the holiness actually penetrates into the physicality itself. And as is known, the difference from before Matan Torah and after Matan Torah, that before Matan Torah, the physicality was not yet a vessel which spirituality could unify with, and the service was only using out the world. The world didn't necessarily have to oppose spirituality, and it could even assist spirituality, but the physicality itself, in its essence, didn't become holy. That was through the giving of the Torah that physicality itself could actually have a transformation, actually unify with holiness. Before the giving of the Torah, spirituality could assist and be involved in the physical, but it wouldn't be truly merged. And that's the story of the sticks and the rehatim, the drinking troves of Yaakov. That he was giving to drink to the sheep. It says in Kabbalah that through Yaakov using out these sticks and droves, he's actually drawing down the same light that we draw down through tefillin. Meaning when we put out tefillin, we're drawing down spirituality and holiness that's actually going to the tefillin and actually having a physical effect. That holiness is actually having an effect in our hearts and in our minds and our arm and our head. And holiness is actually becoming unified in the world through us, through tefillin. The light that we draw down through tefillin, Yaakov was able to draw down through his service with these sticks. However, since the holiness didn't permeate the sticks and didn't become unified with the sticks, it just left the sticks. After he did his service, the holiness left the sticks, so then he could throw the sticks to the side. They weren't holy. You can't throw tefillin to the side because it actually takes on holiness. So exactly, so that's why the sticks didn't absorb the holiness, and that's why there was no light remaining in the sticks afterwards, because the holiness didn't become absorbed and unified with the sticks. However, after the giving of the Torah, when we do a mitzvah in a physical world, the physicality itself becomes holy. And the physicality of the world is a vessel. For holiness, that's what changed by the giving of the Torah. The physicality of the world became able to become a vessel and to absorb and unify with holiness. That's why when you do a mitzvah, you can't just throw the thing away because it's holy. And once it's holy, you have to treat it with respect, and you can't just throw it in the garbage. You have to bury it or whatever it is. Nevertheless, even then, after the giving of the Torah, it was only in the lower parts of a person, which are hinted at when he says Ishto, his wife, Ubanim, and his children, things that are very close to a person, but they're not the person himself. And not only that, but he even says that the powers of a person's soul that descended and become enclosed in the body, meaning the parts of the soul which are involved in the body that are activated in the body, because there's parts of the soul that are beyond the body. But there's the parts of the soul that are active in the body, that are involved in the body. So those things could become holy and absorbed with holiness, but not necessarily the essence and the higher levels of the soul. Those were not yet able to become elevated. Meaning, after the giving of the Torah, physicality, through refining the physical world, like Moshe Rabbeinu, he put his wife and his children on the donkey, which means that the donkey, the physicality, was able to elevate the lower parts of a person's soul. and meaning the parts of the soul that are active in the body and the world. By Avram Avinu, he put his tools, objects, physical objects, were able to assist holiness. That's why he put those on the donkey. Moshe Rabbeinu put his wife and his children on the donkey, which represents that the things closest to a person, but not the person himself, could become elevated through physicality, through refining physicality. It could elevate things close to a person. But by Mashiach, it's going to have something deeper is going to occur.
Mashiach himself, no?
Yes, Mashiach himself is going to be riding on the donkey. The poor man riding on the donkey. That's how it's described. And Biaz Mashiach, it's going to have something deeper. As we said, a poor man riding on a donkey, it's going to be revealed the advantage of the body over the neshama. There's an advantage of the body over the neshama. That's hinted at in a verse from Mishlei, which we say, Eishes Chayil Teres Baila, which we say on Friday nights. Say, Eishes Chayil Teres Baila. What does that mean? Eishes Chayil means a woman of valor. Teres Baila is a crown for her husband. So, generally the way the world works is a giver and a receiver. A giver is considered on a higher level than the receiver. Right? A man in general is considered a giver, and a woman is a receiver. So therefore you would say that a man is on some level higher, so to speak, than a woman. It says when Mashiach comes, the table is going to be turned. How do we say the table is going to be turned? Because it says Eishes Chayil, the woman of valor is a teres, but she's a crown. A crown for her husband. Where does the crown go? The crown goes on top. Goes on top of the person who's wearing it. You wear the crown on top of your head, right? You don't put it. It doesn't go inside of your head. It goes on top of your head. So that means that it's going to be an elevation, and the lower the recipient, which now we say that the physicality Hashem is like the giver, and we are the receiver. But when Mashiach comes, it's going to turn around that the receiver is going to have an elevation. So which we're going to explain about now. So
Yaakov put tools on the donkey?
Yes, Avram put the tools.
Avram.
Moshe Rabbeinu put his children and his wife, and Mashiach himself is going to be riding on the donkey. So that's going to be the body, which is a recipient, meaning the soul is the source of life, and the body receives that. But when Mashiach comes, it's going to be revealed the advantage of the body over the soul, like Eishes Chayil Teres Baila, that the woman is the crown. Filu in the Chaya Yechida, even in the higher levels of the soul, not only the parts of the soul that are active and are present in a revealed way in the body, but even the higher levels of the soul are going to have an elevation through the refinement of physicality. Meaning, the whole refinement of physicality is actually going to bring an elevation to even the deepest parts of the soul. So, in the coming of Mashiach, it's going to be revealed the true source of the Yesh HaNivra. So, Nivra means creation. And Yesh means there is, meaning it's the present, the creation, the very creation before us. So we're gonna see the true root, the true source of this world. What is the truth of this world? Is the truth of Hashem. We're gonna see that this world is not just a physical world. We're gonna see that it's nothing but Hashem, and it says like that the lowest thing comes from the highest place, and that's what it means, that this physical world actually comes from the deepest, highest level of Hashem, from Hashem himself, from his true essence.
That's what it means that the woman will be crowned. The woman represents the physicality.
Yeah.
Now revealed to be the greatest.
Yes.
In other words, take care of your body, eat well, sleep well, exercise.
Yeah, that's right.
That's okay.
Because your body is the body keeps the score.
The body's your temple.
So you should be under your donkey. Why are you on top of your donkey?
Hold on. We're getting there. This is exactly what
You
he's
should
saying.
be carrying the donkey.
Hold on.
Because that is part of, you're still riding, you're still in charge of it. Because you're the one giving a charge, but it's the one.
Hold on.
Let's
It's fine. You're saying good. So he says the truth of the world is really the truth of Hashem. That's the source of it. So through refining the world, refining the creation, you're going to create elevation in even the highest levels of the neshama. Because even the highest levels of the neshama don't come from the same high source that the physical world does. So when we refine the physical world, in the ultimate way, it's going to, since it comes from a higher place than the soul, even the highest levels of the soul, the physical world is going to give an elevation to the soul. And that's so that's why Mashiach is going to be riding on a donkey, because Mashiach represents the highest levels of the soul, and the donkey represents the physical world. And the donkey, the physical world, is able to let the soul access a place where it's not able to access on its own. So the physical world is going to actually create an elevation in the highest levels of the soul, and the highest levels of the soul is Mashiach. That's it, because the Mashiach is represents the Yechidah Shabbat, the essence of the soul. So the physicality is actually going to cause an elevation. That's why Mashiach is riding the donkey. Yeah, that's why he's on top of the donkey, because it's lifting him up. Yeah, the physicality is allowing Mashiach to reach a place where he can't reach by himself.
Wow. And saying your teeth.
1 second though. There's last part. Das ist eigentlich der Rebbe. This is the hint.
You won't need to say it.
So this last part, the Rebbe explains when Yaakov wanted to tell Esav that he was ready for Mashiach, why did he hint it as Yeshli Shor v'Chamor? Right? Why do you say I have oxen and donkey? Donkey represents Mashiach because Mashiach is a poor man riding on a donkey. Why didn't Yaakov hint at as the higher level of Mashiach, the meritorious level of Mashiach, that Mashiach is going to be coming riding in the clouds of heaven?
So you should tell them have cattle and clouds.
Exactly. Should have said we could have said clouds and okay. So this is what he's saying. So again, what does the Gemara say? It says if the Jewish people are zachu, if they merit, then the Mashiach will come riding on the clouds of heaven. If they do not merit, it's gonna be a poor man riding on a donkey. The word zachu, merit, is connected to the word purify. Zachu is also connected to the word to pure. Zach means pure. Zachu is meritorious. So zachu, meaning the meritorious. So when people are involved in the service of spirituality, instead of reading it as merit, they're going to come to the clouds of heaven. You can read it if they're involved in spirituality. So then it's going to be in the clouds of heaven, which is like a revelation, which is from above to below. It's like a holy, inspirational revelation. But Lozak, when it says if they're not meritorious, he's going to come riding on a donkey, meaning not that they're not meritorious, but Lozak meaning not pure, meaning if they're involved in the world, if they're involved in refining of the world, physicality. If the Jews are involved in physicality, and then we refine those things and refine those things. So then there's going to be a revelation of the poor man riding the donkey, which is a revelation from below to above. That which is like we said before, that the physicality is going to be able to elevate the spirituality. That through the physicality, we're going to come the neshama. Even the highest levels of the neshama is going to reach a place where it wouldn't be able to reach without the physicality.
Why does it say if not meritorious then?
So the simple way, the simple literal translation of the Gemara is if they're meritorious, im zaku, then it's going to be in the clouds of heaven. If im lo zaku, if they're not meritorious, then Mashiach is going to come riding on a donkey.
So, but you said zako is very related to.
Yeah. So instead of reading in the literal translation, you can instead of reading zaku as meritorious, you could say im zaku if they're going to be involved in service. That's spirituality. Then they're going to come to a revelation that's going to be going to be nice and wonderful, but it's not going to be bringing out the advantage of the physicality that it's rooted in the essence of Hashem. But if lozaku, if they're involved in matters that are not so spiritual, meaning that they're involved in physicality, and refining physicality, then Mashiach is going to come riding on a donkey, meaning that we're going to reveal the awesome source of the physical world. It comes from the highest level of Hashem, comes from Hashem himself. That level, Mashiach is going to be riding on the donkey. So Yaakov Avinu was really telling Esav that he was connected to the level of Mashiach, that Mashiach is going to come riding on a donkey, that it's going to be that the physical world, through the refinement of the physical world, it's going to make an elevation, even the deepest levels of the neshama, the soul.
With that explanation, it sounds almost like we'd be more. It's almost like a greater revelation if he's riding on a donkey.
That's the point. That's the point. Point is that yes, that's what Yaakov was telling his brother Esau. That the question is, seemingly Yaakov should say if they merit, he should hint to him that we're going with the clouds of heaven. That seems like the best option. But why did he say no? Why did he hint at Mashiach through the donkey? And the Rebbe explained that the concept of the Mashiach on the donkey is actually a greater revelation than the Mashiach coming on the clouds of heaven.
So the word zaku, so merit,
Zaku also
doesn't mean necessarily like merit as if like you did good.
Yeah, that is the simple. That is the literal translation. But the Rebbe explains it in this way, explaining how you can see in the words that it's actually the ultimate
very nice
revelation.